I took my dog to the groomer and they said they were going to charge me to scrub its anal gland. And I, being so used to crappy wrestling, was like, oh, you're going to watch wrestling? Why? Anyway, I didn't scrub out my anal gland this week because Raw was pretty good.
Freaks.
Now we're a little bit late with the SmackDown one, but it was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't as good as Raw. I'll say that, which is unusual. That alone is a fucking monumental statement. SmackDown wasn't as good as Raw. That's usually never the case. It's usually like, as of recent, it's usually like SmackDown. Thank God that exists because Raw stunk it up. But nope, it was kind of the opposite this week. SmackDown was fine, I guess. You could see some changes, but nothing. No huge striking changes like on Raw.
This is worthy of note that apparently Bischoff is gonna have or didn't have any creative say in this one. He's gonna start after Extreme Rules.
I don't care. It just as long as it doesn't suck, as long as it's not scrubbing out anal glands, I'm good. I don't care what's going on behind the scenes. This did not scrub anal glands, at least.
All right, I'm just saying that might be the reason why there wasn't a big change.
It
like
started
with
out.
Raw.
It started out with KO doing his KO show bit, and he was looking like I was after watching Raw for the last year, defeated. And at first I thought maybe this is a reaction to what's going on at the time. A lot of weirdness going on. But no, it's just, him doing him. And that's because he had Shane and Drew out there and, they're doing their thing. And that still sucks, by the way. But they basically announced that the match between them and The Undertaker and what's-his-face, Roman Reigns, was going to be no holds barred. But this was not about that. This was about more KO kind of mocking them, or Shane more specifically, their approach to winning, making light of it, and being kind of angry about it, I guess, there was tension for sure. And at this point, Dolph Ziggler comes out, and I wanted to punch my face in because even though he didn't say his, bit, what was it called? It should have been me.
Mm-hmm.
They did make fun of it, namely KO. KO was on fire, is what I'm saying here. And he was basically telling him, stop being a fucking wimp and get over that shit. It licks, which I gotta say, yes, that did lick. So hopefully it just stops now, which it seemed to. But anyway, long story short, the end game to all this was that Shane was like, all right, well, you fuckers want some of the spotlight, then you two are now a team, and you're going to go against Heavy Machinery, and whoever wins that will be, injected into the tag team match for the belts this coming Extreme Rules. So, all right, I guess. It took a little bit to get there, but it was okay. And then they asked Daniel Bryan, what he thought about this, and it was all right. He basically gave us the response we'd expected. These guys are inconsequential, and we're going to come out the winners. All right. Next up was something pretty good, but ultimately meaningless. It's just kind of like a buffer match to kind of tease you about the eventual tag team match. And that was Big E versus Daniel Bryan. Big E, of course, being super entertaining. And Daniel Bryan, being a technical whiz, made for a pretty cool combination, surprisingly. So it was a pretty decent match, if it just was filler. Anyway, next up we had Truth basically saying that this 24/7 thing's on his mind and he's coming for Drake, and that was kind of where we left it. All right. Truth still in the picture. I'm game. Next up we had Nikki, and she was basically allowed to host a Moment of Bliss by Alexa as kind of like a gift for her winning this opportunity for her. And so they're really doing a good job with Nikki kind of coming off as like innocent and cute, which is weird considering she was kind of supposed to be this psychotic maniac. But you know what? It's working. The crowd is going with it. And surprisingly, anyway, her guest was Bayley. And of course that led to the, defending and accusing Alexa angle. And eventually to a match where Nikki was trying to fight for Alexa. And Bayley ended up winning against her pretty soundly. So I don't know where that stands because Nikki beat her last week. So, what is that exactly saying? But story-wise, I guess that's continuing. Again, not a great story, but it's there. And Nikki's getting to do something, so cool. Next up was probably the best part of the night. And that was Samoa Joe and Kofi having a face-to-face. And, Joe can cut a mean-ass promo. So that's what that was all about. Basically, he was accusing Kofi of using people to get ahead and being an opportunist and not giving a shit, really, but playing the face, basically. And Kofi just retorted with, you're just a jealous bitch, in essence, right? But this was punctuated by him. Well, in addition to that, he called him a coward for always coming in behind people and choking people out.
Breaking his feet.
Which I gotta say, yeah, kinda, for such a strong fucking character.
With weak feet.
You gotta come on, man. You gotta come up with something else besides the fucking clutch, dude. I've been saying this for ages. Anyway. Kofi basically flipped him off at the end of this. Now, they played this in a weird way, as in the camera didn't show it at first. They did show some more Joe's reaction to it, which was pretty funny. Like, it's like you got hit by a Mack truck or something. Like, come on, man. You're supposed to be tough, dude. Anyway, but then the camera moved in such a way where the flip was evident. So, I mean, and by evident, I mean it was that you were looking at the bird right in front of your stanky face. So it's not like they're trying to hide it, but I get this feeling that they're trying to play it up like realism, which is good because my reaction was, what are they going for here? But not in the, what are they going for here way. More in like the, I'm interested in what they're going for here way. So that's cool, man. I dig it. And honestly, I'll take that over just blatant stupidity where they're like, come on, man. I know what you're trying, and it still sucks. So that wasn't either of those things. It was just like, all right, cool. And they're not using it like a fucking blunt weapon either. It's not like the people are flipping people off 24/7. So that's a plus. So that was really good, man. That was a good, tense confrontation, a little teaser for what's to come. Next up, they spoke to Heavy Machinery, where they were just, kind of excited about them having this chance to be injected into this tag team scene. And Otis acting insane as fuck. I want to say I'm sad that Otis is still not over as fuck, but that's not his fault. Or maybe it is his fault. I don't know. The point is, he's not acting in his full Otis mode. There's a lot of thrusting and worms being done, but not much else. The Otis that we knew in NXT is still kind of hidden. So far, all we see is kind of like a guy that goes, oh yeah, all the time, and thrusts.
Yeah.
Which is not cool. I mean, it's cool, but not on its own. You know what I'm saying? You can only get enough of that. So it's kind of sad, but because, I mean, they play to some silence sometimes. You know what I'm saying? It should be something that people are kind of liking. But I get the feeling that's why, because there's not much else to it but that at the moment. So hopefully that changes. But anyway, next up we had old Bobby Lashley speaking about the whole incident that happened on Raw and what his thoughts on it were. And basically his thoughts were, Braun deserved it. And then he calls him son of a bitch. And it worked. And it's good to see that Bobby, is not being played up to be a complete dumb shit wiener like he was when he first came into the company. When he came back into the company. So that's good, man. That's good. I don't really know what happened to Braun. Again, the blurring those lines of reality versus fiction. So that's cool. Mm-hmm. So we'll see where that goes.
Supposedly it's a way for him to recover because he was working through some injuries.
So Stinky Braun is stinking dead.
Yeah.
Hashtag pass it on. He's officially dead 6 feet under in China.
There was also some reports that they crashed through the set because they're bringing in a new set, and that was kind of a way to hide the transition or whatever. Can never take those with you. Take that with a grain of salt.
Speaking of hiding transitions, they've been doing this thing in the shows now where, of course, they take breaks during commercial breaks at the live events. I was wary about this because, the people at the live events are going to be like, what the fuck, man? Why is nothing happening? I mean, they'll know, but it sucks. If I go to a live event, I don't want to be waiting for the event. But the way they're integrated into the storyline, it happened several times, this week. It actually kind of works and makes sense the way they're doing it. So, kudos on that. Speaking of kudos, the man kudo himself, Apollo Crews, went up against...
It's not even a person worth the man kudo.
Yeah, man kudo, dude. Aren't kudos brown?
What the hell's a kudo?
Kudos, those fucking candies, right?
That's a candy?
right? Kudos. Somebody help me out here. Save me.
You're thinking of Kanki.
Anyway, fucking kudo, man. Apollo Crews went up against Andrade. This picking up that kind of confrontation they had. I mean, it's kind of a filler match, but it was really good. You know what I'm saying? Apollo was especially showing off his abilities, and it just reminds you, how they wasted him for so many fucking months, fucking millennia. Of course, he does suck on the mic, so there is that. So there's room to grow. But anyway, Andrade won, and he should have won. But anyway, that was pretty good, surprisingly good. Next up, we had KO and Dolph Ziggler kind of just agree to work together despite their differences. And that was that. Fine, I guess. Unnecessary, ultimately, but fine. And then we had Aleister Black, who last week, somebody did knock on his door. And he reveals that there was no one there. And at first I was like, come on, man. What is this? No one there. Fastest guy to disappear from a void ever.
It's a void, yeah.
But you know what? He's really good at this promo bit. And he basically took that as like a taunt, like somebody's making a statement by not being there. And so he extends the challenge that whoever shows up at Extreme Rules, whoever that may be, whoever it was that knocked at the door, whoever shows up at Extreme Rules to fight him is the guy that knocked on that door. So basically, the table's open for anyone to come and eat at it, or backslash, fuck his back door apparently. So yeah, man, it could be anybody at this point.
Maybe there was someone there and it was just John Cena. You couldn't see him.
Boop, that would be stinky, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Cena would win. That would lick. Anyway, this week I kind of got the impression that maybe that is where they're going with the Bray thing. I don't know, man. We'll see. It's definitely interesting with the suspense of who it's gonna be. So if they fucking drop the ball, that's gonna lick big stinky ones.
It's gonna be Kona Reeves' debut.
I would be behind that because Kona would lose hard.
He wins though.
But no, oh man, that stink. Anyway, speaking of stinky, we had Ember Moon versus Mandy. That's a long-awaited confrontation because of the bullying, quote unquote. This is a non-story, man. It's not good. I mean, it's not horrid. It's so nothing that once you see this confrontation, you're like, who gives a fuck about all this and a bag of chips?
It's like our channel.
Yeah, Ember won. The end. That's it.
All right.
Nothing special about this. Nothing interesting. That's it. She won. Anyway, that was a low-ass point right there. Next up, we had an intriguing point, though. I'm not going to say it was good. I'm going to say it stirred intrigue, period. Basically, it was a super close-up shot of Shelton Benjamin, who we all know is a pretty amazing athlete, and for the most part has been forgotten in the last handful of years, which sucks. But he's also not been used at all, basically, on the screen. So it's a close-up shot of Shelton Benjamin, I'm sorry, and they ask him, who do you think will win the championship? Some disembodied voice says, and he just kind of stares around the room as if voices were speaking to him or something, and then a little smile creeps up on his face, and then he sidles out of the shot. And I was like, what the fuck is going on, man? But you know what? It was interesting. I mean, he knows something. What is it? What does he know? Or, who does he think is gonna... What the fuck? Speculation is rampant, I'm assuming, because this thing apparently, like, they uploaded it to the WWE website just by itself.
What?
Like, it obviously got people talking.
Kudo?
I've heard some rumors, and not rumors, but theories, and I don't know. The two prominent theories are he's going to be part of Bray Wyatt's thing, and he knows that that's what's happening, and then, which would be interesting, admittedly, very interesting. And the alternative is that he knows that his real life friend Brock Lesnar is gonna cash in and win, which would not be interesting. Would suck ass, but at least would get that out of the way because fuck, stop teasing it. Cares? It's Brock. Anyway, this all ended with KO and DZ, aka Dolph Ziggler, versus Heavy Machinery, and that was a fucking match, wasn't it?
All right.
It was okay. I mean, it wasn't great, you know. Fucking the New Day and Daniel Bryan and Rowan were at the ringside doing their thing, commentating, or in the case of the New Day, commentating. And the match started, but New Day and Daniel Bryan and company got into it, so they had to restart the match. Hence, the commercial break. So, yeah, man.
I wonder how long until they run out of ways to work that in.
Yeah, it's gonna happen quick. The match was fine. I guess I guess the standout would be Tucker Knight because he's become incredibly fucking lithe and like he's like fleet-footed now. It's like watching a feather, but it's made out of iron. Pretty interesting. On the opposite end of the spectrum, again, this makes me sad in my every part of my body, including the nethers. Otis was looking stiff, man. He was walking, and I don't mean stiff as in stiff shots. I mean like stiff
like
as in
knees don't work.
Yeah, as in like you're too fat to move.
Yeah.
And we know all about that here, being too fat to move.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, what is this? What's Otis doing,
Stop
man?
eating steaks, maybe.
Yeah, you gotta stop eating them
weights.
steaks, man. Anyway, they won.
Wait, who won?
Heavy Machinery, which is... I mean, it's good that they're pushing them, but the way the gimmick is going, it's not going great. So maybe they could have actually let KO and Dolph Ziggler win. But then again, that whoever wins, we kind of lose at this moment. But I don't expect this third entrant to be the winner of the belt anyway, so whatever. In the process, Dolph Ziggler ended up kicking KO in the face. KO got pissed, and you know where that's going. He runs a rough shot on the whole endeavor there, and it ends with him screaming and being angry, and screaming in general at the crowd. And then this happened. This is literally how the fucking event ended, with what I'm assuming was a ref, but definitely somebody that was out of the ring and out of the shot, very audibly going, "Talk to the hard camera." And then Kevin Owens looking down at him like, "What? Talk to the hard camera." Then Kevin Owens trying to talk to the hard camera, and then you could still hear the guy, "The hard camera."
Whoa!
Dude, stop.
Stinky!
Man, anyway, it was fine.
So that guy sucks.
Whoever that was, shut the fuck up. First of all, your voice stinks. Second, serious, dude?
Talk to the hard
Serious?
camera.
Talk to the hard camera? I mean, at the same time, KO, you know to talk to the hard cameras. What the
good
fuck?
point, but still.
But anyway, it was an event. You know, it was way more entertaining than some of the shit we've seen recently from the company, so I can't complain. It did feel like a minor step down from Raw, but it set a pretty decently high bar for a TV show about wrestling. So, you know, that had been shit for years.
It was fine.
So, yeah, it's a decent little thing. Some things in it were interesting, and they definitely lit some fires of curiosity. So that's good. All in all, not great. Not a waste of time, thankfully, and short, thankfully. So there's that. Tell us what you thought about the stanky episode. I mean that in a good way.
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
All right.
There was no Baron in it, so
Oh,
cool.
yeah. Instant 10. Anyway, bye.